What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the show. I am Lenny Reed, the host of the Lenny Reed Pod, and this is LR Pod Live, the YouTube channel. For all the people that's coming in and it's going to be watching on a rebroadcast, this podcast is about, this live show is about the UFO hearing, and I'm going to break down some video because a lot of people didn't get, they didn't get a chance to see anything. So we're going to break down this video, but before I get started, I have something nice and gold in this cup right here. And this is late. What time is it? Oh man, this is 10 o'clock. So I'm going to just do what I can today. Just, They say you got to do what you got to do, right? You got to do what you got to do. So I know the last live that I did, I think the live before that, I think I was talking about how I really don't, believe in UFOs. It's sort of like a tough spot. But today I'm going to break down this hearing and sort of break down what the guys is talking about. I guess the whistleblowers. All right. That's so crazy. It's just like it's basically a corporate snitch, something like that, right? A corporate or government snitch. That's what I call a whistleblower. But today we're gonna get it. We're gonna get with it. Let's see here. 1 second. Why does it seem like my audio is off? No, everything good. Okay. Okay, so look, like I said from the beginning, I always had a issue with UFOs because as I got older, I had an issue with lights. Why does UFOs have lights? But now, I don't know, after watching this hearing and guys putting their life on the line, right? They putting their life on the line, they putting their reputation on the line. But then again, I'm not an idiot. This can be straight bullshit. This could be, I don't know, some kind of smoke screen, right? So I don't know. So I think we're going to find out today, or at least try to break down some of the shenanigans that I'm about to present to y'all. Now, these hearings came out a couple days ago. I was sort of hemmed up, so I wasn't able to do a live show. But if something interests me, I will get to it. I will figure it out. I'll break it down, and I have some fun. You always got to throw in the fuck shit time to time. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. So let's get started. Oh, why? Oh, hold up 1 second. Oh, the Wi-Fi is off. Damn it. Straight. All right, let's start this. Let's have some fun, man. Let's have some fun. Like I said, if you're going to be watching this from the rebroadcast, please hit the like only if I'm doing you some due diligence. If I'm bringing you value, hit the like button. All right, comment or something. But let's get this going. Let's get it going.
For UAP issues, and finally, retired Navy Commander David Fravor, squadron leader who worked as a naval aviator for 18 years. Mr. Fravor has his own UAP experience, known as the
UAP. That's I guess that's new for UFO. UFO is worn out now.
To Committee Rule 9G, the witnesses will please stand and raise their right hands.
Okay, hold up. Now this right here, they are raising their right hand. So basically, if they lie or somehow they down the line in the future somehow, they figured out that they told a lie, they could get jail time for this. So this is the difference between somebody saying something on a Joe Rogan podcast, saying, I seen this, I seen that, I seen this, opposed to you coming up to the Senate or Congress and you are raising your right hand, dog. All right? Or raising your left hand, whatever one it is, but let's get it.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Better
So
not
help you
lie,
God.
nigga. You lie, it's your ass.
The records show that all the witnesses answered in the affirmative. You may be seated. We appreciate you all being here today and look forward to your testimony. I'll remind the witnesses that we have read your written statements and they will appear in full in the hearing record. Please try to limit your oral statements to 5 minutes. As a reminder, please press the button on the microphone in front of you so that it's on and the members can hear you. When you begin to speak, the light in front of you will turn green. After 4 minutes, it'll turn yellow, and the red light, when that comes on, it tells you your 5 minutes have expired. I'll now recognize Mr. Graves for 5 minutes for your opening statement.
Let's go, buddy. Let's go.
Chairman Grothman, Ranking Member Garcia, distinguished members of the House Oversight Subcommittee on National Security, Representatives Burchett and Luna. My name is Ryan Fobbs Graves, and I'm a former F-18 pilot with a decade of service in the U.S. Navy, including 2 deployments in Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Inherent Resolve. I have experienced advanced UAP firsthand, and I'm here to voice the concerns of more than 30 commercial aircrew and military veterans who have confided their similar encounters with me. Today, I would like to highlight 3 critical issues that demand our action. As we convene here, UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena. The stigma attached to UAP is real and powerful and challenges national security. It silences commercial pilots who fear professional repercussions, discourages witnesses, and is only compounded by recent government claims questioning the credibility of eyewitness testimony. Parts of our government are aware of more about UAP than they let on, but excessive classification practices keep crucial information
It's all
hidden.
about money. It's all
Since
about money.
2021, all UAP videos are classified as secret or above. This level of secrecy not only impedes our understanding, but fuels speculation and mistrust. In 2014, I was an F-18 Foxtrot pilot in the Navy Fighter Attack Squadron 11, the Red Rippers. And I was stationed at NAS Oceana in Virginia Beach. After upgrades were made to our jet's radar systems, we began detecting unknown objects operating in our airspace. At first, we assumed they were radar errors, but soon we began to correlate the radar tracks with multiple onboard sensors, including infrared systems, eventually through visual ID. During a training mission in Warning Area Whiskey 72, 10 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach, 2 F-18 Super Hornets were split by a UAP. The object, described as a dark gray or a black cube inside of a clear sphere, came within 50 feet of the lead aircraft and was estimated to be 5 to 15 feet in diameter. The mission commander terminated the flight immediately and returned base.
15 feet.
Our squadron submitted a safety report, but there was no official acknowledgement of the incident and no further mechanism to report the sightings. Soon, these encounters became so frequent that aircrew would discuss the risk of UAP as part of their regular pre-flight briefs. Recognizing the need for action and answers, I founded Americans for Safe Aerospace. The organization has since become a haven for UAP witnesses who were previously...
Okay, all right. So, a cube and a sphere. I heard that before. So look, check this out. Check that out. Now, the thing is, he said they split the aircraft. Now, could it have been stationary and the aircraft came and went on both sides of it? And you know what? I think in the later video, I'll play that too. He said they are still seeing these shits, man. So let's go right here. I guess this is some kind of illustration of it. See, breaking this down right here. even a balloon, if this was a balloon, a balloon cannot be stationary right here. It can't. So what if they just seen a balloon inside of a balloon, but somehow it was not stationary, but you got jets going, what, 500, 600 miles an hour, boom. And this object probably seemed like it's going in the other opposite direction as they went both sides of it. But damn, man, why I can't see this shit, man? Damn. All right, let's get back to there. Hold on, let me go back to right here. He said 5 feet to 15 feet in diameter. That's not that big, though. 5 to 15 feet in diameter. Okay, let's get to it. I'm rambling.
Joined us in the fight for transparency at safeaerospace.org. The majority of witnesses are commercial pilots at major airlines. Often, they are veterans with decades of flying experience. Pilots are reporting UAP at altitudes that appear above them at 40,000 feet, potentially in low Earth orbit or in the gray zone below the Kármán line, making inexplainable maneuvers like right-hand turns and retrograde orbits or J-hooks. Sometimes these reports are reoccurring, with numerous recent sightings north of Hawaii and in the North Atlantic. Other veterans are also coming forward to us regarding UAP encounters in our airspace and oceans. The most compelling involve observations of UAP by multiple witnesses and sensor systems. I believe.
Is he bullshitting, though? God damn, I wish I can read this dude, man. Is he bullshitting? Because this made the news, right? And it seemed like nobody gave a fuck. Is it me? But nobody gave a fuck.
These accounts are only scratching the surface, and more will share their experiences once it is safe to do so. In closing, I recognize the skepticism surrounding this topic. If everyone could see the sensor and video data I witnessed, our national conversation would change. I urge us to put aside stigma and address the security
That boy
and safety
talking
issue this
shit.
topic represents. If UAP are foreign drones, it is an urgent national security problem. If it is something else, it is an issue for science.
Damn. He said we wouldn't be having this conversation if y'all seen what I seen. I feel you, John. I feel you. What's up, John? Yeah, nobody. Well, I don't know about that. I think people believe, but I think people don't care. That's what I think. I think they care more about Instagram and TikTok than UAPs. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad, man. It's sad. But yo, what can you do? I think they need something. They need that Independence Day shit. Like they just come outside and there's a big hovering, UFO in front of every Capitol building or, every major city in the world. That's probably what they need. But he talking shit. I just wish. See, they didn't lie detector them. I guess them raising their hand and taking an oath was good enough. If they lying, they frying, right? So I don't know.
Kármán line, making inexplainable maneuvers like right-hand turns and retrograde orbits or J-hooks. Sometimes these reports are reoccurring, with numerous recent sightings north of Hawaii and in the North Atlantic. Other veterans are also coming forward to us regarding UAP encounters in our airspace and oceans. The most compelling involve observations of UAP by multiple witnesses and sensor systems. I believe these accounts are only scratching the surface, and more will share their experiences once it is safe to do so. In closing, I recognize the skepticism surrounding this topic.
Yes, it's skepticism, dog.
Sensor and video data I witnessed,
You think
our national conversation would change. I urge us to put aside stigma and address the security and safety issue this topic represents. If UAP are foreign drones, it is an urgent national security problem. If it is something else, it is an issue for science. In either case, unidentified objects are concerned for flight safety. The American people deserve to know what is happening in our skies. It is long overdue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I hope your ass ain't lying. Now, look, this is what it could also be. Case in point, Iron Man, right? If you see how Iron Man was making shit separate from the government. I know it's a movie. I know it's fake. But just pay attention to that. This could be, and I think they will reference this in some of the videos that I got here. But this could just be, I don't know, it could be another company with deep pockets that came up with some kind of device or came up with some way to, nuclear fusion. I don't know, but it don't have to be UFOs from another planet. It could also be a small company with billions of dollars or a government. But this the dude right here. This the cat right here.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Congressman, Congresswoman. I want to first thank you for the invitation to speak to the committee on the UAP topic that has been in the news for the past 6 years and seems to be continuing to gain momentum. As you know, my name is David Fravor. I'm a retired commander in the United States Navy. In 2004, I was a commanding officer of Strike Fighter Squadron 41, the world-famous Black Aces. We were attached to Carrier Wing 11, stationed on board the USS Nimitz, and had begun a 2-month workup cycle off the coast of California. On this day, we were scheduled for a 2v2 air-to-air training with the USS Princeton as our control. When we launched off Nimitz, my wingman was joining up. We were told that the training was going to be suspended and we were going to proceed with real-world tasking. As we proceeded to the west, the air controller was counting down the range to an object that we were going to, and we were unaware of what we were going to see when we arrived. The controller had told us that these objects had been observed for over 2 weeks, coming down from over 80,000 feet, rapidly descending to 20,000 feet, hanging out for hours, and then going straight back up. For those who don't realize, above 80,000 feet is space. We arrived at the location at approximately...
Hold up. Coming down from 80,000 feet, airplanes fly at 30,000 feet, right? 30, 35, 40,000 feet. So shit coming down for a while and then go back up.
20,000 feet, and the controller called merge plot, which means that our radar blip was now in the same resolution cell as the contact. As we looked around, we noticed that we saw some whitewater off our right side. It's important to note that the weather on this day was as close to perfect as you could ask for off the coast of San Diego. Clear skies, light winds, calm seas, no whitecaps from waves. So the whitewater stood out in a large blue ocean. All four of us, because we were an F-18F, so we had pilots and Wizzo in the back seat, looked down a small, saw a white tic-tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north-south and moving very abruptly over the water like a ping-pong ball. There were no rotors, no rotor wash, or any sign of visible control surfaces like wings. As we started clockwise towards the object, my Wizzo and I decided to go down and take a closer look with the other aircraft staying in high cover to observe both us and the tic-tac. We proceeded around the circle about 90 degrees from the start of our descent, and the object suddenly shifted its longitudinal axis, aligned it with my aircraft, and began to climb. We continued down another 270 degrees, nose low, where the tic-tac, or we considered 270 degrees to where, and we went nose low to where the tic-tac would have been. Our altitude at this point was about 15,000 feet, and the tic-tac was about 12,000. As we pulled nose onto the object, within about a half mile of it, it rapidly accelerated in front of us and disappeared. Our wingmen, roughly 8,000 feet above us, lost contact also.
They playing with
We
y'all,
turned
man.
back to see where the whitewater was at, and it was gone also. So as we started to turn back towards the east, the controller came up and said, "Sir, you're not going to believe this, but that thing is at your cat point, roughly 60 miles away in less than a minute. You can calculate the speed." We returned to Nimitz. We were taking off our gear. We were talking to one of my crews that was getting ready to launch. We mentioned it to them, and they went out and luckily got the video that you see, that 90-second video. What you don't see is the radar tape that was never released, and we don't know where it's at, of the active jamming that the object put on an APG-73 radar, and I can get into modes later if you're interested. What is shocking to us is that the incident was never investigated. None of my crew were ever questioned. Tapes were never taken, and after a couple days, it turned into a great story with friends. It wasn't until 2009 until Jay Stratton had contacted me to investigate. Unbeknownst to all, he was part of the ATIP program in the Pentagon led by Lou Elizondo. There was an unofficial official report that came out that's now on the internet. Years later, I was contacted by the other pilot, Alex Dietrich, and asked if I'd been contacted, and I said no, but I'm willing to talk. I was contacted by Mr. Elizondo, and we talked for a short period of time, and he said we'd be in contact. A few weeks after that, I was made aware that Lou had left the Pentagon in protest and joined forces with Tom DeLonge, Chris Mellon, Steve Justice, and others to form Two Stars Academy, an organization that pressed the issue with leading industry experts and U.S. government officials. They worked with Leslie Keene, who is present today, Ralph Blumenthal, and Helene
Okay,
Cooper
okay,
to publish
okay,
the articles in the
okay,
New York
okay.
Times 2017 New York Times. And it removed the stigma on the topic of UFOs, which is why we're here today. Those articles open the door for the government and public that cannot be closed. It has led to an interest from our elected officials who are not focused on little green men, but figuring out where these craft are, where they're from, the technology they possess, how do they operate. It also led to the Whistleblower Protection Act and the NDAA. There are multiple witnesses coming forward to say that have firsthand knowledge, and Mr. Grush just covered that. What concerns me is that there's no oversight from our elected officials on anything associated with our government processing or working on craft.
It's all about
Believe
money,
it's not from
baby.
this
It's
world.
all about
This
money.
issue is not a full public disclosure that could undermine national security, but it is about ensuring that our system of checks and balances works across all work done in the government using taxpayer funds. Relative to government programs, even unacknowledged WAVE programs have some level of oversight by the appropriate committee members in the House and Senate. And this work that is said to be occurring from whistleblower testimonies should not be exempt. In closing, I would like to say that the Tic Tac object we engaged in 2004 was far superior to anything that we had on time, have today, or are looking to develop in the next 10 years. If we in fact have
Sheesh.
programs that possess this technology, it needs to have oversight from those people that the citizens of this great country elected in office to represent what is best for the
Okay. So he said, it's nothing, the technology that they seen or he's seen, it's nothing that we have or will have within the next 10 years. But check this out. Just say if I was a deep government agency that, you know, other people or other agencies doesn't have clearance to. I think that'd be the best way to test our aircraft is with a less, even though it's the same United States, a less developed, a less developed, we are more superior. It's good to test our aircraft, do like a test mission to see what we have to tune up or how they react, how that shit, I don't know. It just seemed like this could be a government agency that we don't know about and we never know about. And his clearance would never get down to that level. Or this could be some straight up other shit, man. This could be, I don't know.
And making this available, this information available through the public is going to reduce the concerns that aircrew have.
Could you just give me a little idea of the degree to which reports in the past are not made public right now?
Well, I don't think there has been a proper reporting system to gather those reports and thus not report them. So to answer your question, I think there is a dearth of data due to the fact that the reporting has been limited up to this time.
Could you tell me why you believe it's, kind of to play the devil's advocate, a reason why some of this stuff should not be available to the public?
There's certainly some national security concerns when we use
National
our advanced
security,
sensors and
national
tactical
security,
jets
national
to be able to
security.
identify these objects. However, there's no reason that the objects themselves would be classified. I would be curious to see how the security classification guideline actually spells out the different nuances of how this topic is classified from the perspective of UAP, not national security.
I'll give you a follow-up on that. Assuming that there are reasons why not all this should be made public, this has been around for a long period of time. Can any of the three of you think of any reason why anything related to UAPs, say 15 years and back, should not be immediately made public?
Answer the
I
question.
think one of it
goddamn.
is acknowledging a vulnerability, both from a collection and I'll just say a countermeasure perspective. So it's
How is-
that we haven't cracked for many years. Yeah.
Even say 20 years back, is there any reason why when you go back that far things shouldn't be made public?
Unless it shows a specific national security vulnerability
What?
as it relates
20
to a
years
weakness
back,
in a
my
particular
G.
defense system.
Oh, okay, Mr. Fravor, the TikTok incident that you were engaged occurred in 2004. What kind of reporting took place after that incident?
None. We had a standard debrief where the backseaters went down to our carrier intel center and briefed what had happened, and that was it. No one else talked to us, and I was in the top 20 in the battle group. No one came. The captain was aware, the admiral was aware, nothing was done.
Did your commanding officers provide any sort of justification?
No, because I was the commanding officer of the
Okay.
squadron, so no.
Was this incident the only UAP event that you encountered while you were a pilot?
Yes, it was.
Okay. This is for any one of you. Based off of each of your experiences and observations, do you believe UAPs pose a potential threat to our national security?
Yes, and here's why.
Explain, my G,
The,
because
the
I don't know
technology
why.
that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Okay, you
And
got
you could
it.
put that anywhere.
You made
If
your point.
If you had one, you captured one, you reverse engineered it, you got it to work. You're talking something that can go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants, and leave. And there's nothing we can do about it.
Sheesh.
Okay. You two?
Well, I would also like to add, from a
We are the
commercial aviation and
ants,
military aviation perspective,
and
we
they are
use
the
uncertainty
humans.
in our operating space as a matter of our professional actions. Identifying friend from foe is very important to us. And so when we have unidentified targets and we continue to ignore those due to a stigma or a fear of what it could be, that's an opening that our adversaries can take advantage of.
What steps should be taken to better understand and respond to UAP encounters in the interest of national security?
There needs to be a location where this information is centralized for processing, and there needs to be a two-way communication loop so the operators on the front end have
Ain't gonna happen,
feedback
brother.
and
It ain't gonna
can
happen.
get best practices on how to process the information, what to do, and to ensure that they
So what homeboy, General Fravor, whatever his name is, oh boy, he gave that man the answer on why this thing should be an issue with national security. It's like humans will be the bitch, right? It's like, you know how we see a bug or water bug or whatever, and we want to step on it, right? The way these things are maneuvering, oh man, it's like the role is reversed. Yeah, John. Oh, okay. All right. They could be deflecting from something else. What could, all right. This hearing could be going down and they could be passing a law somewhere else about, taking guns or something like that. I don't know. But we got, 3 whistleblowers that's doing I don't know. They it seemed like they still holding back, but you can't go into the classified scene because you can really, they can really get jail time for that. So I understand that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It could be a deflection from something else. It could be. Could be. But I don't know. Was this the video I just watched?
their reporting is.
Oh yeah, this is the video of this one. Okay.
Want to just talk about UAPs.
Let's get to the shits, man. Let's get to the shits.
Interaction with UAPs. Particularly, Mr. Graves, one of the, I think, concerns that for members of this committee is this idea that pilots, there's no system to actually report UAPs and the stigma around pilots. And so can you just briefly, you mentioned that you're working with 30 pilots right now that have had encounters with UAPs, but you've also, I believe, discussed and know of many more pilots. This is just those that you're currently working with. Is that correct? Can you expand on that?
Certainly. I'll break that down in 2 ways. First, when we were first experiencing these objects off the eastern seaboard in the 2014 to 2015 time period, anyone that had upgraded their radar systems were seeing these objects. So there was a large number of my colleagues that were detecting these objects.
Say that again. Say that again. Hold up.
2015 time period. Anyone that had upgraded their radar systems were seeing these objects. So there was a large number of my colleagues that.
Y'all get, oh, holy shit. So basically what he's saying is, all right, just how the James Webb, right? Telescope. The stuff that it's finding was always there. It was always there, but before the James Webb, we didn't see it. Right? So basically what he's saying, whoever upgraded their radar system started picking these things up. Prior to that, nobody picked them up. So that means they was there all this time. That's deep, bro. That's deep right there. So as that radar system gets better and better, we will detect more shit. I mean, we might detect something that we don't want to detect, but damn, that was
detecting these objects off the eastern seaboard. They were further correlating that information with their other onboard sensors, and many of them also had their own eye sightings as well of these objects. Now, that was our personal firsthand experience at the time. Since then, as I've engaged this topic, others have reached out to me to share their experiences, both on the military side as well as the commercial aviation side. On the military aviation side, veterans that have recently got out have shared their stories and have expressed how the objects we were seeing in 2014, 2015 continued all the way to 2019, 2020, and beyond. And so it became a generational issue for naval aviators on the eastern seaboard. This was something we were briefing to new students. This is something that was included in the notice to airmen to ensure that there was no accidents. And now with commercial aviators, they are reaching out because they're having somewhat similar experiences as our military brothers and sisters, but they do not have any reporting system that they can send us to.
And let me just add, both to Mr. Fravor as well as Mr. Graves, not having this system for reporting, would you both agree that it's harmful to not just our national security interests, but to understand this phenomenon of what's happening with UAPs?
I think it's actually a travesty that we don't have a
Yeah,
system
you can't
to correlate
keep a record
this
of
and
it.
actually investigate. You know, so if you took the East Coast, you know, there's coastal radars out there that monitor our air defense identification zone, so out to 200 miles. They can track these, you know, so when you see them, they could actually go and pull that data and get maneuvering. And instead of just having the airplanes, there's other data sources out there. And I've talked to other government officials on this. So you need a centrally located repository that these reports go to. So if you just stuck it in DOD, you wouldn't get anything out of the Intelligence Committee because they have a tendency to not to talk. But if you had a central location where these reports would come in, not just military, but also commercial aviation, because there's a lot of that going on, especially if you talk to anyone that flies from here to Hawaii, over the Pacific, they see odd lights. So I think you need to develop something that allows you a central point to collect the data in order to investigate.
Mr. Graves?
I would concur with everything Mr. Fravor said. I'll continue to say that the commercial pilots that have reached out to me through Americans for Safe Aerospace are doing so because they don't feel there's another way for them to.
I need to talk to some
And I think
pilots,
one of the
man.
clear outcomes of this hearing already is that there
I need to
has
talk
be
to
a
some
safe
pilots.
and transparent reporting process for pilots, both on the commercial side and the military side, to be able to report UAPs in a way that's also transparent, but also understands the scope of our national security interests and what may be classified or not. But I think there has to be some sort of system, and so that's something that I hope can be an outcome that this committee can work on. Is there anything else for the two of you briefly beyond this reporting system that you think that we can do as a government to encourage and facilitate more civilian reporting?
I think we're doing it right now.
Okay, great.
I think this hearing is going to show the American people that their
Come on,
government
man.
takes this
Stop
topic
kissing ass.
seriously.
Come on.
And how about civilians that may not be pilots? What kind of process could be in place for civilians who are not pilots, who may have UAP encounters? Do either of you have any suggestions that could facilitate that?
My recommendations would be to make that a sensor-centric operation in order to make it as objective as possible.
Okay. Sir, Mr. Fravor?
No, I agree with Mr. Graves on that.
Okay. Just briefly, I also just want to note, particularly for the two pilots, and I have a question for Mr. Grush. One of the things that I found fascinating in our discussion, Mr. Graves, last night as well, is that you both described UAPs and formations and the way they are observed in space or in our air, and the way that they move is essentially ways in which current technology or aircraft that we know of are unable to actually function or move. And so will you just, for the public record, again, once again, briefly just either describe or note that aircraft that are being witnessed, particularly by the 30 folks that you're working with, are essentially outside the scope of anything that we know of today and the technology we have today. Mr. Graves, Mr. Fravor?
Yes, the objects that are being seen by commercial pilots are performing maneuvers that are unexplainable due to our current understanding of our technology and our capabilities as a country. And that applies for the military as well.
Mr. Fravor?
Yeah, I concur with that. We have nothing that can stop in midair and go the other direction, nor do we have anything that can, like in our situation, come down from space, hang out for 3 hours, and go back up.
Thank you. My last question, and sometimes I know you have also said some of these answers in the past, but we're trying to get them on the public record as well, which is really important. Mr. Grush, finally, do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Let's get it.
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
And where?
I know the exact
Oh,
locations,
national
and
security.
those
Come on,
locations were
man.
provided to the Inspector General and
Area
some
51, bro.
intelligence committees. I actually had the people with the firsthand knowledge provide a protected disclosure to the Inspector General.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I would just say that I think that these questions are important questions, and I look forward to being involved in the process to get those answered. I know there'll be a lot of questions from the committee members, so I yield
I
back.
don't know. That dude's sketchy.
Thank
right
you. We'll
there.
go to Mr. Burchett himself.
He's sketchy. I don't know. Oh, man. He said, come down, hang out for 3 hours or 8 hours, whatever he said, and then go back up. What is going on here? If anybody that watched this in a rebroadcast is a pilot, or if you've seen a UFO, not a light in the sky, no disrespect, but not a light in the sky, and these lights is killing my eyes, but it's too late. I want to turn all the lights off, but it's good. Not a light in the sky, but if you've seen something, a craft or a being or something, just hit me up. All right, just hit me up. Hit me in the back channel. All right, my Instagram right there. DM me or something if you're watching this on a all right, now let's get to this shit. Now I was just basically laying it down. Now the reason I did this video is these guys is like before I seen this, I was leaning one way and I was leaning the iffy way, right? But they brought me back to, I don't know, it's confusing. I want to believe, right? I want to believe. Oh, and if you've seen the thumbnail, that is salute to the goats. And if you know who the goats are, what are you at? The X-Files. Skelly and Mulder. That is what they are on my thumbnail, and that's a salute to the goats. Even though it was a TV show, it was pop culture. All right, let's get back to it. Let me stop playing.
Place on the East Coast. Is it just on the East Coast where these encounters have been reported?
No, since the events initially occurred, I've learned that the objects have been detected essentially where all operations, Navy operations are being conducted across the world. And that's from the All-Domain Anomaly Resolutions Office reporting.
All right, can you describe your experience after you decided to come forward and go public with your experience?
Certainly. Like many others, in 2017, I saw the New York Times article come out as well. And for me, it was special because I recognized the voices on the video. I recognized the video itself. I had seen it when it was taken. I seen it when it was debriefed. And so that was kind of shook me because I realized that this problem was still ongoing. And so I reached out to colleagues back on the East Coast and realized that this was still a safety risk that they were dealing with, that they had essentially hit a wall with how they could move forward on this conversation. It was at that point when I decided to try to move the conversation forward myself.
Are there common characteristics to the UAPs that have been cited by different pilots, and can you describe what the convergence of descriptions is?
Certainly. We were primarily seeing dark gray or black cubes inside of a clear sphere.
I'm sorry, dark gray or black cubes?
Yes, inside of a clear sphere, where the apex or tips of the cube were touching the inside of that sphere. And that was primarily what was being reported when we were able to gain a visual tally of these objects. And that occurred over almost 8 years. And as far as I know, it's still occurring.
8 years. Still occurring. I know I shouldn't have did this show. I had a stance that I wanted to stick with. Now they got me all confused, man. I don't know what to do.
Explain to me in detail the event that occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base.
Certainly. In the 2003 timeframe, a large group of Boeing contractors were operating near one of the launch facilities at Vandenberg.
Boeing. Remember Boeing? You gotta watch those contractors, yo. Boeing, Norfolk Grumman. I think that's Grumman, right? You gotta watch them. They up to some shit.
Air Force Base when they observed a very large 100-yard sided red square approach the base from the ocean and hover at low altitude over one of the launch facilities. This object remained for about 45 seconds or so before darting off over the mountains. There was a similar event within 24 hours later in the evening. This was a morning event, I believe 8:45 in the morning. Later in the evening, post-sunset, there were reports of other sightings on base, including some aggressive behaviors. These objects were approaching some of the security guards at rapid speeds before darting off. And this is information that was received through one of the witnesses that have approached me at Americans for Safe Aerospace.
Was this documented in any official form, whether it was a police blotter?
Yes, they had official documentation and records from the event that the witness held over the years.
And I'm not going to ask you to do it right now for time reasons, but you'd be able to sketch what was witnessed, correct? And have you seen that before on any other equipment and/or during your flight time?
I have not seen what they've described. This object was estimated to be almost the size of a football field. I have not seen anything personally that large.
Okay, and then another question on follow-up referencing the gimbal video Go Fast incident. Can you just clarify, because to our understanding, the footage was actually cut off at a certain point, but what happens at the end of that video, just for those Americans specifically there that are wanting to know about the rest of that footage?
Certainly. There was some uncertainty or instability with the object. It seemed to rock a bit, and that's the last I had seen of the video.
What you mean by
Much
that?
of the data that I would recommend be analyzed would consist of radar data that would provide precise kinematics on the object, as well as the fleet of objects that were operating nearby.
Okay, and follow-up, in regards to the reporting procedures that Mr. Garcia had addressed on, as well as Representative Burchett, with the FAA, to your understanding, pilots that are seeing this, commercial airline pilots, are they receiving cease and desist letters from corporations for coming forward with information in regards to safety for potential airline passengers?
I said, follow the corporations. Boeing, follow the corporation. They some snakes, slime back motherfuckers. Follow the
They've made
corporations.
privy to conversations with commercial aviators who have received cease and desist orders.
So the American public should know that corporations are putting their own reputations on the basic, not the line, but ahead of the safety of the American people. And I think, would you agree with that statement?
It appears so.
Okay.
Listen, everything is about the money. Everything, okay? Damn microphone. Everything is about the money. Corporations, they probably, I ain't even gonna get into that. That's for another time. What time is it? It's late. It ain't that late, but all right, we get into the shits. Let's go. I feel it coming. Come on.
Tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So what I personally witnessed myself and my wife was very disturbing.
Word.
Okay.
Well, share, bro.
One of my constituents actually sent this next question, and I figured I'd ask it since I had the same thought. You've said
How
that
you let
the
'em
U.S.
just
has
glide over
intact
that?
spacecraft. You said that the government has alien bodies or alien species. Have you seen the spacecraft?
Oh shit, let's get it.
I have to be careful to describe what I've seen firsthand and not in this environment, but I could answer that question behind closed doors. Yeah.
And have you seen any of the bodies?
That's something I've not witnessed myself.
Okay, and so with that being said, the other statement that has been made that was intriguing to me it's intriguing because my view has been that we are billions of light years away from any other system. And the concept that an alien species that's technologically advanced enough to travel billions of light years gets here and somehow
Talk that
is
shit,
incompetent
man.
enough to not survive
The crash.
Earth.
Hold up.
Is
You come here millions of light years through space. You get over here and a punk ass missile shoots you down from ants, which is humans. Come on, man.
is something that I find a little bit far-fetched. And with that being said, you have mentioned that there's interdimensional potential. Could you expound on that?
To answer your first question, and I'm here as a fact witness and expert, but I will give you a theoretical framework, at least to work off, to kind of espouse crashes, regardless of, your level of sentience, right? Planes crash, cars crash, N number of sorties, however high, a small
They're
percentage
made by
eventually
humans,
end in,
though.
mission failure, if you will, as we say in the Air Force. And then in terms of multidimensionality, that kind of thing, the framework that I'm familiar with, for example, is something called the holographic principle. It derives itself from general relativity and quantum mechanics, and that is, if you want to imagine a 3D object such as yourself casting a shadow onto a 2D surface, that's the holographic principle. So you can be projected, quasi-projected from higher dimensional space to lower dimensional. It's a scientific trope that you can actually cross, literally, as far as I understand, but there's probably guys with PhDs that we could probably argue about that.
But you have not seen any documentation that that's what's occurring?
Only a theoretical framework discussion, yes.
Okay. Okay. Occam's razor is that these aircraft, have they been identified that they are being produced by domestic, military and contractors? Is there any evidence that that's what's being recovered?
It's possible.
Not to my knowledge, plus the recoveries predate a lot of our advanced programs that I previously am witting of, so.
Would it be safe to say that there could be a scenario today where you have an aircraft that crashes and because it's been involved in one program from one federal agency, and but the agency that retrieves it is not aware of that program, and to them it appears alien in origin?
I mean, that's a hypothetical situation. I'm not aware of any historical situation that would match that you described. So
You're not aware, it has not happened that you're aware of?
that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Okay. All right. After watching these videos, and I gotta say, their testimony is right on cue. It's right on point. Do it hit the spot for me? I don't know. I just need like physical evidence. I need like pictures or something like that. I think I got one more where he was talking shit. Favor, whatever.
Weapon systems right next to multi-million-dollar jets without informing our pilots.
No, we have test ranges for that.
It took over 15 years for your encounter with the Tic Tac to be declassified. Do you feel there was a good reason to prevent lawmakers from having access to this footage?
No, I just think it was ignored when it happened, and it just sat somewhere in a file. Never got reported.
In a drawer. It happens a lot up here. Shocker. Mr. Gresh, a couple of questions for you too, sir, this morning. What percentage of UAPs do you feel are adequately investigated by the U.S. government, of the 5% that are reported?
I can only speak for my personal leadership over at NGA. I tried to look at every report that came through that I could triage, so.
Do you believe that officials at the highest levels of our national security apparatus have unlawfully withheld information from Congress and subverted our oversight authority?
There are certain elected leaders that had more information that I'm not sure what they've shared with certain Gang of Eight members or et cetera, but certainly I would not be surprised.
Okay. You've stated that the government is in possession of potentially non-human spacecraft. Based on your experience and extensive conversations with experts, do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
My G, what are you here for?
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Speak English.
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or
get
even
that
in a
man
private
killed.
setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding, what programs are happening, and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals.
Oh, he's snitching. He's
that were in
snitching.
those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to
ASAP.
provide that to you after the hearing.
Super. Thank you.
Grand snitch. Oh man, see. So right there in that video, that last one, she asked a plain question and he answered it. There were biological non-human beings in some of these, craft they recovered. But it's just something in me that's just not all the way in. I'm not all the way in. I don't understand it. I'm not all the way in. Now, this channel is, please don't get it twisted. This channel is not just about UFOs and conspiracy. It's about everything. It's about relationships. It's about love. It's about, ecstasy, whatever you want, this channel is about. But I will touch on topics that sort of eludes me in the mental frame, and UFOs and UAPs and beings from other planets or other solar systems. I don't know. It's just it's something that I cannot put to the side. And these videos, I hope they help y'all. Because nobody want to sit there. I know that the videos from the hearings came out and it was 2 hours, 3 hours long. So what I tried to do, I went into the videos and I diced it. I got out the perfect good sections of it, and I tried to break it down. Now, before this, if you ask me, do I believe in UFOs, I would have said no. But if you ask me, do you believe in life on other planets? 100%. Do you believe life in a universe that's, way advanced than us? Shit, do you believe in it could be life in our oceans? 80%. So when it's UFOs, I didn't believe, because you see this right here, we have perfect cameras, We have perfect cameras on us. Every person, I don't care what third world country you go to, they got cameras on the phone. And you would think that with the invention of cell phones and cameras, that we would get some high quality videos, right? High quality photos of UFOs or any kind of phenomenon going out. Even people on airplanes, you get nothing. So I don't know, but I take away a couple things that they said in the video, that they started seeing these anomalies when they upgraded their radar system. And that hit right there, because that's telling you that we are probably this small. And whoever that is playing around with us with these little tic tacs and these UFOs and UAPs and just zipping in and out of space, and we can't even do that shit. Left hand turns at 1,000 miles an hour, we can't do that. Going in and out of the water, maybe we don't. All right, maybe we knocking on the wrong door. Maybe we should just mind our damn business. I don't know. But hopefully, let me see here. Hopefully, we get an answer one day. And maybe I have somebody up here that probably actually seen a UFO. And like I said, no disrespect. If you've seen lights in the sky, I'm not interested. You know what? Fuck it. I hear you out. But if you've seen something in the daytime, I think that'd be dope. If you've seen an orb at night and you know it's shot by and that could have been flares. It could have been a lot of other things that go on at night. So I don't know. So where I stand now when it comes to do I believe in UFOs, UAPs? Did this video, did this podcast, this, I keep calling it a podcast. What is a podcast? It's on a podcast. Did this live change my mind watching these videos? Yeah, it did. It's like I can't discount it now. Now I want to do more research. I want to talk to those guys. So what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to find them on Instagram or something, or anybody that's seen something. So that's basically it. Like I said, if any of these videos anything that you've seen was to value of you, made you think a little bit, you know, just hit the like button, comment, even on the rebroadcast. I do this for the rebroadcast. Anybody that come up here on live, it's just an added, you know, thing. This is for the rebroadcast. I just like to have people to interact with the show. So, oh man, it's 11 o'clock. My bed is calling me, but that's basically it. And hopefully we can get to the bottom of this. Probably next live, I'll probably do something Sunday, have a little fun, have a couple people up here, talk, enjoy. And sort of, I don't look at the UFOs as depressing. I look at them as, I don't know, that feeling you get in your stomach when you're nervous. Are we going into an arena that we shouldn't be touching? Are we doing something that we shouldn't be investigating? I don't know. Are we looking for something that we shouldn't find? Should we just mind our business? No, we shouldn't. But that's it. I'm just having fun. I'm living life, drinking whatever I drink. But I'd like to thank you all for listening. This has been another live LR Pod / Delaney Reed Pod. And y'all have a wonderful night. And I'm about to get some Z's, baby.